Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash JustNoMil. In today's episode, Mil ruined my hair. Mil is treating me like an enemy when I've known her for all of my life. Grandson preference. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Mil ruined my hair. When I was younger, I dealt with a lot of crappy situations. My only real escape from that was my hair. I know how silly that sounds, but it is what it is. When sh** teeth started to fall apart, I turned to my hair and used it as a medium to control and reflect how I felt. I'd cut it, dye it, style it weird, whatever, and it would make me feel better. In 2011, I gave myself an 80s-like purple mohawk. That involved shaving off a good portion of my hair. This was the last time I truly felt like I wasn't in control of my life. Since then, I've let my hair grow without much messing with it other than regular maintenance. This year, after the birth of my third child, my hair reached the length of my thighs. To me, my long beautiful hair is a reflection of how far I've come with my overall mental health and happiness. It's very, very important to me. This brings me to now. With 3 children under 5, my long hair stays in either a pony, braid, or bun. Little hands tend to pull on it otherwise. This fact for some reason has been extremely annoying to my husband's stepmother. Every time I'd see her, at least once she would bring up what a waste my hair was on me. She would tell me that a mother shouldn't have a rat nest like I have or something snide like that. She's annoying and I ignore her for the most part because she just wants attention and I won't give it to her. Until yesterday. Sitting on my FIL's couch, breastfeeding my youngest, having a pleasant conversation with DH and FIL about what we were watching on the TV. I felt a tug on my hair, and before I could pull completely away, I heard the scissors close. There's my MIL and my 4-year-old standing behind the couch, both laughing as she holds a large portion of what was my bun. The 3 of us turned and stared at her. It was like the looking at a cartoon villain. I'm devastated and trying not to cry in front of my children. DH starts yelling, asking her if she's insane. My 4-year-old starts to cry, which is followed by MIL, who tearfully claims it's just a joke, it'll grow back. We thought y'all would laugh. The whole situation falls apart with DH arguing on my behalf, my 3 children and I crying, MIL snot bubble sobbing, and FIL trying to get us all to calm down. We end up leaving with DH telling his dad to divorce his wife because being married to an overgrown 8-year-old is probably illegal. Which I would have giggled at if I wasn't so upset. DH drives us around looking for a stylist that will take a walk in, and I call my SL to come sit with me. She meets us at her stylist's workplace. She was off work but came back as a favor, thank God. Looking at my tattered hair was horrible. Large chunks were gone, the length was all over the place. It was awful. I felt like I lost a body part. Luckily, the stylist was very talented and salvaged my hair to right above my shoulders. It looks nice, but I'm still sad looking at it. I don't know how long it'll take to get over this. MIL sent me a couple half-assed apology texts, like, sorry, but don't be a baby, hair does grow type shit. Anyway, I lurk this sub quite often, so I felt this is a good place to share. Thanks for reading. Edit 2. So after a lot of talking with DH and with my SL, I've decided to press charges with their support. SL is looking into hair extensions for me, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to do yet. DD is okay too. We had a long talk and I think she understands what happened was not okay, why it wasn't okay, and it is not her fault at all. That's not a joke, that was a pre-planned jealous rage and an assault. She's been obsessed with your hair for years and decided to use your 4-year-old child to help her pull off her revenge. I wouldn't take my kids over there again. What if she's jealous of your daughter's hair next? I'm glad it was mostly salvageable. I love my long hair and it's also constantly pulled up because of my small kiddos. Short hair just doesn't get out of the way as easily. Also, make sure you talk with your 4 years old that she knows haircuts without permission are not okay, and step-grandma is now in timeout for doing something very mean. That is so horrible. Frankly, I might be inclined to file a police report for assault, which is what it was. I would also never visit, nor allow my kids to visit, someone who thinks an assault is funny. I honestly didn't consider something like assault, which it definitely feels like it was. It's definitely a route I'm going to consider. I want justice. My children won't be over there anytime soon. DH and I have been ignoring both FIL and his wife. I don't know for how long, but I don't want to talk to either of them right now. OP, you do realize that is criminal assault and battery, right? Does not matter if you were not physically injured. Yes, was a lawyer. I'd file a police report. Not because she's going to get jail time, but because what she did is malicious as batch *T crazy, a reflection of how unhinged she is, a possible precursor to more aggressive attacks. Yes, that was an attack, and as she deliberately continues to victimize you and blame you for being a baby. File a complaint. Let the chips fall where they will. Hope you saved pics of the chop before it was fixed. I felt sick to my stomach reading that. I'm so sorry. She used your 4-year-old as a meat shield for an incredibly vicious action while teaching her to bully someone. I hope that is addressed to her as well. Not even sure I could hear any type of apology for any single part of that. I am so sorry for any of this having happened to you. So much this. What kind of role model is she to her step-grandchildren? Deeply sorry this happened to you. And go DH. What she did was assault. Please file a police report immediately. If your hair is in any way linked to your religious practice, it may also be a hate crime. She shouldn't take it so seriously. She'll be out before your hair grows back. And she'll be out a long time before she sees your kids again. I remember a story where a mill cut an indigenous, Native American boy's long hair and the mom filed a hate crime. Seconding filing a police report for assault. And no unsupervised time with the children anymore. Unsupervised? She just assaulted their mother, there is zero contact with the children. This is when to go calm scorched earth. For the 4-year-old, especially but not exclusively. It's a lesson in body autonomy. It's a lesson in consequences for your actions, minimum of staying away, recommend filing charges. It's a lesson in empathy, understanding of the above and your understanding of why they did it but are not in the same type of trouble. It can also be a lesson in standing up for yourself. I highly recommend a post on your own strength and beauty while saying exactly what happened. It can be a lesson in making manure out of *T by donating the hair if possible, or just being fabulous with her not in your life. Keep to what your husband said, no grandkids with her anywhere near the picture. This behavior deserves severe consequences. You nor your kids should have to worry about a family member hurting you and then saying it's funny. I've never commented on a post on this sub before, until this. I totally understand the emotional and mental attachment to hair growth and health. I am so sorry you had that happen to you. I feel this is unforgivable and falls under the category of assault. If it were me, this isn't advice, just what I would do. I wouldn't allow any contact for her with my children. There's no telling what stunts and jokes she'd pull in the future. Ditto to everything here. What she did is royally messed up. MIL is treating me like an enemy when I've known her for all of my life. TW, eating disorder and miscarriage. Hi. I'm using a throwaway account because people from work know my main. My 22F husband and I, 25M, have known each other our whole lives. My father and his mother, Caroline, were childhood friends. I lived in the same country as them, UK, until I was 10 when my parents divorced and I moved with my mother to the US. I moved back for university when I was 18, and that's when I started dating my husband. During my teen years when I lived in the US, I would come to the UK every summer, and as you'd expect, I would see Caroline pretty regularly. I have a strained relationship with my mother and stepmother, and she was almost like a second mother to me when I'd visit. She only has 2 sons and really wanted a daughter, so she'd sometimes call me the daughter she never had. She was so excited when I started dating her son. She'd always talk to my dad about how they'd share grandchildren and how excited she was for that. My husband and I got married in the summer, and I noticed a switch with Caroline while we were planning the wedding. She tried to be controlling over details such as my dress, catering, and food, and would be very passive-aggressive when she didn't get her way. I just thought that she must be stressed or something, so I didn't get offended. But now that we're married, she's like a completely different person. She's become critical of everything I do and my weight, which is hurtful because I've struggled with my weight my whole life and I used to have an eating disorder. I also had a miscarriage 2 months before the wedding, and I didn't even know I was pregnant, so it was a very difficult time for us. She keeps bringing that up now and asks when we're going to try for another baby when we've made it clear that we won't for a few years. She also complains about me to my dad all the time, saying that I've been rude to her or that I've ignored her calls when I've done neither of those things. I can't even have a conversation with her now without her pointing out something wrong with my appearance. Either my hair is messy, my makeup is cakey/creased, there's always something wrong now. I'm honestly just so heartbroken because we used to be so close and I don't know what went wrong. Has this happened to anyone else? And do you guys have any ideas on why she's acting like this now? Thank you. My unprofessional opinion is she saw you as the daughter she never had. And you aren't living up to her expectations. I bet she dreamed of a daughter who would let her plan her wedding, who'd be her best friend and talk about everything with, and you aren't meeting her expectations. And nor should you. She's hoping you'd be a mini her, and you aren't because you are you. She's created a dream daughter in her head, thought you'd be closer and more pliable than you are. And then when you've failed to be this, you are suddenly rude. That's my best guess as to why. It sounds like you'd love your relationship back with her, so maybe it's time to start calling her out. Mil, we don't comment on people's bodies. If you continue to talk about my weight, we'll have to ask you to leave. Mil, I have better things to care about than how I look. Please drop it or we'll have to leave. What does DH think/say? Are you on the same page? Have you tried just directly asking why she's had a complete behavior change towards you? Most people will get very defensive when directly confronted, but the truth may come out. The thing that bothers me is that she's running to your dad to complain about you instead of talking to you. She needs to be set straight now because this will only get worse. Has your husband seen any of this behavior? I am guessing here, but when you were dating, she still had control and possession of her son. Now in her eyes, you have possession of her son and she doesn't like it. If she tears you apart emotionally, maybe you and DH will fight and he will come home to her. Or she is simply angry and jealous and taking it out on you. The fact that you haven't provided her with babies to raise is something she is livid that she can't make you do now. A narcissist will go to your circle and try to involve them in wearing you down to get their way. They are blinded by an overwhelming desire to control, even when it's destructive. You need support you can trust. I hope it's your dad. This behavior is incredibly, ridiculously common. I'd estimate that 1 in 3 users on this sub start their first post with something like, "My MIL and I were such great friends until we got married/bought a house/had a child, and then it was like a switch flipped." It's a loss of control thing. The MIL has this idea in their heads of being the benevolent matriarch of the family. She's still an active mother in everyone's lives. Her children and in-laws come to her for advice for everything, think her food is the best they've ever tasted, want her to give her approval over every decision. Basically, they see their kids as children in adult bodies who still need a mother. And And then when it turns out that her children and their spouse are individuals who want to live their own lives, they can't handle it and decide it's the daughter-in-law's bad influence, rather than just the normal phase of their children growing up and becoming adults in their own right. She is more than willing to be friendly with you as long as you are not seen as a threat to the current power structure. The moment marriage comes up, you are upsetting the apple cart. Menopause, early onset dementia, brain tumor, etc., take your pick. What does hubby think of all this? Just curious if your DH has noticed a change in her behavior too, and maybe the two of you should sit her down and ask if everything is okay since she has seemed to have changed from being kind to a negative ninny all of a sudden. Also, you need to upfront 100% honest and clear with your dad with everything as well. What has he said about it? If she is going to label as a bad deal and lie about, own it. Stop talking to her and distance yourself. Grandson preference. South Asian family. Arranged marriage. Illiterate MIL harangued me for grandkids for 3 years. Gave her one a year ago. Now every opportunity she gets, she sighs deeply and says, "Why was our family given a daughter and not a son? I thought I'd have a grandson." She did it thrice today. Bought clothes for my 1-year-old daughter that were meant for a boy, dressed her up in them and turns to me and brightly says she looks exactly like a boy in these clothes, doesn't she? It's all I can do to not chew her out. I am trying to convince myself that she's doing it out of sheer ignorance rather than spite. Rant over. Tell your MIL she should address her complaints to her son, as the baby's gender are determined by the sperm. Maybe you should just go ahead and lose it on her. Take the boy clothes and throw them in the trash right in front of her. Yell at her that you will not allow her to disrespect your daughter again. This is not the way it was when she was a girl, and boys are not more valuable than girls. Girls grow up to be educated, and can choose to be high-paid doctors, lawyers, computer professionals, and can support themselves very well without needing to rely on family or a husband. They can even help take care of their families, just like boys do. Today girls can do everything boys do, so there is no reason for disappointment that a girl is the firstborn. Besides, she is smart, strong, beautiful, and ready to do or be anything she wants. Appreciate her, love her, stop wishing she were someone else or you won't be a part of her life. You gave her a grandchild, or do you mean you had a baby? See the difference? It's not about her. Ouch. My grandmother, Dad's mom, wanted my parents to have a boy, someone to carry on the family name. My parents had 2, and they were done. They had a girl, and then me. She hated me. My crime, I'm female. She wasn't illiterate, but she could be wrong, a lot. I pretty much told my parents that I was done with her, and they understood. She's been gone for almost 16 years now, I don't miss her. Get your husband to handle this crap. She's his circus after all. Your MIL is probably not going to change, but she's not your audience. Your daughter is. Your husband may be right up to a point. But even when your daughter is tiny, counter what your MIL says. If you beam at your daughter and say something approving every time her grandmother says something disparaging, that will make the bigger impression on her and send the message that you don't agree. Well, nothing will change if you keep allowing her to come over, FO whatever she wants, and say whatever she wants without consequence. You can believe it's ignorance all you want, but she's doing it on purpose to shame you for having a girl, is going to keep doing it and say worse things to your daughter. Till she believes that grandma doesn't love her and doesn't deserve to be there and instead should have been a boy. You keep ignoring her is going to eventually harm your daughter when she can hear and understand grandma. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.